Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Eating While Broke. I'm your host, Colleen Witt, and today we have two very special guests. We have owners, founders, creators of Mixed Chicks, Wendy and Kim are in the building.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for coming. I was emailing your team. I think we had emailed them. We were going back and forth for a while, and they were just like, if you reach out at this date and this time, you could maybe get them. And so we are so happy to have you. I am extremely happy to have you. I love interviewing entrepreneurs. And Mixed Chicks, you guys, I remember when you guys started hitting the shelves back in 2004, 2005, 2004 is, actually
when we started.
I remember when you guys first hit the shelves, I was like, oh, there's something for us. Something specifically for us. This is before everyone else started, pounding the pavement. So take me back to, before we even start there, tell me what you're going to have me eating today.
You are going to have linguine with clam sauce today.
Ooh.
Yes, it sounds like something that will cost a lot of money, but when you see how simple the ingredients are, you will see that anybody can do this on a budget. We're using canned clams, and that is really what kind of makes the price cut. Mm-hmm. So, I'm going to start chopping.
Oh, you know what? Can you tell us all the ingredients for your dish?
Yes. We have some fresh garlic here that we're going to chop fine. We have fresh parsley that's been chopped. We have some fresh lemon. We also have just a little bit of butter. You don't have to do the butter, but butter makes everything taste
better.
good. Yeah, butter.
Makes it better.
And a little olive oil and lemon juice, and like we said, the canned clams. So, we just start out by sauteing the garlic in some olive oil, about 2 tablespoons, and I'm going to finish chopping these up.
And then just for the listeners hearing, this dish, I always say the cheaper the dish, the better the story. This dish was probably at most $10, and I'm only saying $10 because, you have to, if you want to add the parsley and fresh lemon, because we have lemon juice on the side, this dish could probably honestly be all in $6. So this is really creative. It's the first time we've ever had it on the show. And I even played around with the recipe yesterday and was like, I just found a new mom hack, and it took less than 20 minutes. So,
well, if you're on the West Coast, you might have a lemon tree in your backyard, especially being in LA.
Yeah.
So that cuts down some cost, okay? Right there.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
So take me back to what was going on during the clam linguine era.
I was living in my hometown of Atlantic City, New Jersey, and I was teaching in the same school system that I am from. And Atlantic City is pretty rough right now, especially the public school system, and it was. Whenever that must have been, I was probably, let me not date myself completely, but I'm going to say it was about 25 years ago.
Okay.
And so living on a teacher's salary isn't easy, especially when your income is also going to help. I was a math and science teacher, so if you wanted to do the experiment in the book, you had to come up with those supplies. You had to purchase them.
You had to purchase
If you really wanted your students involved, you didn't have to. You could have just read you could have read it with them. Do you think they really would have been engaged?
No.
So you didn't really have a lot of money for yourself.
So this was a teacher making a difference, right?
Wow, that's
by
crazy.
Offering something to her students.
And what about you? What was your broke dish?
Well, we joke about that because you could be broke, but we were always going to eat, right?
Yeah,
so it was like we could make any concoction in the house. But I was thinking, I always loved to make these, I would call them egg rolls, right? Ooh. So, the big Asian style, egg rolls you find in the store, the wonton egg rolls. And I would use chicken, so just get some.
You would make them from scratch?
Oh, yeah.
And what would you use to make it? The paper thing?
All you need is the paper, the squares, right?
Yeah.
any type of chicken breast, you know, whatever's on sale, chicken at that time, and you could substitute it for another kind of meat, right? I used black beans. I'd use parsley, and I'd use not parsley. I'd use cilantro.
Cilantro, yes.
Cilantro, and I use cheese.
Wow.
And it's really simple. I just saute, you know, my
Beans,
onions.
chicken, cheese. So it would be like a burrito,
So it's like a burrito, but in a wonton, in an egg roll. And you just, you cook everything on the stove, take your wonton, roll it up, deep fry it, boom, you're done. And those would last for like 2 days.
That's actually pretty
So it's
ingenious.
really good.
I hope everyone took notes on that. I'm going to try that one too.
we weren't going to do 2 meals. We'll do one.
No,
But,
no,
you know,
I'm glad.
We'll
I'm
come
glad.
back and do that.
Yes, come back.
Yeah.
So,
Is that hot
And-
enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
so you were a teacher, and what did you go to school for? Are you Kanye? Are you Kanye West dropping out of college, or did you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm entrepreneur
Okay, there
to
you
the
go.
10th power. Yeah,
Okay.
actually, my career started in television. So I was in TV production.
Okay, what did you
So-
do in TV production?
Oh, everything. I started from being a PA. That's the first step. Production
course.
assistant, of course, to coordinating producer assistant, to line producer assistant, to production coordinator.
Wow.
So I worked my way up. Then I became a mommy. And the stress of appeasing everybody else just became too much. It was like, you know what, I have a kid.
Yeah.
I don't really want to play this game anymore. And I bowed out. But I do miss TV.
It's crazy because when I think of people in entertainment, you're always put in these, like, I hate to say it, but
Compromising
it's terrible,
positions.
compromising positions, but you always have like these limited budgets, short timelines, fast deadlines.
You know what, actually, I got to tell you, television really helped me with my career now. I worked live TV. So
Oh,
the reality was that, you know, when that clock hit that time to go on, everything had to be perfect. So it was chaos before that. But at the end of the day, it always went on without a hitch.
And so you think that also played a role in your success as an entrepreneur?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I worked with some of the biggest producers at that time, and, you know, you couldn't make excuses. If they wanted something, it wasn't, oh, well, how? Well, how do I do that? It was figure it out. So I always tell people all the time, you know, the biggest mistake you can say to when someone asks you a question is, I don't know, or I'm not sure, or give one of these.
Oh, yeah,
it's like,
no.
figure it out.
Figure it out.
Or the best thing you can say is, I'll get right back to you.
Yeah, no. I
Yeah.
learned that lesson. I was working with Nick Cannon, and one of the first hard lessons I learned was him having a conversation with, like, you never come to me talking about you don't know.
Right.
Definitely don't come to me with no solutional options. And I remember just being really like mortified, almost like I'll never make this mistake again.
Because
And
I don't know will get you fired.
yeah. I don't know is never a good answer in that industry.
Ever. In any industry.
In any industry.
Yeah. In any industry.
I just
But
for
in
some-
television,
and-
yeah,
anything in
absolutely.
entertainment, I feel like it's
Listen, you
don't
have
let-
to
yeah.
get it done. Yeah. So that's where my training came from. So it's kind of like you just figure it out. And that's exactly what we did.
So how does a teacher from Atlantic City, and where were you from?
I was born in New York,
Oh, okay.
Long Island, but I was raised here in California. So I'm an LA girl. I'm both.
How do you guys
I'm a
end
mixed
up
chick.
crossing paths? Were you guys?
So
So Wendy worked in I was in TV. I'm sorry. Wendy started to work in music.
yeah, I actually
my
had,
sister.
yeah, I had gone through a breakup, and the best way to make sure it's over is to move 3,000 miles
You're
away.
hilarious. Was it one of those on and off relationships? Is that why you had to move?
On and off since like to 10th grade, right?
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
And
so
it
you
was
really
just-
had to bounce.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was no good.
Yeah.
So
That's hilarious.
but we're still friends today. You know, just some people it's better that way, right?
Oh my
But
goodness.
anyway, so I had an opportunity from just a guy I had known before that was looking for he was looking for an assistant.
A little bit.
And so I just figured, you know what, let me get out of here because, you know, now all of my bills are all on me, and teaching alone, you just can't really do it. So I figured, let me just give this a try. He said he'll pay me a little more than a teacher, and he was closing down this New York office and coming out here to LA. And I just said, I'm going to go for it. and the desk right next to me, it was like he was a branch of Virgin Records. It was actually Chiba Sound, and he managed D'Angelo and Mark Ronson and a lot of really cool bands. So it switched my life. I ended up going on tour a few times just as his assistant.
Wow.
But his sister was at the desk next to me, and I didn't really know many people out here. So she just kind of took me under her wing, took me to her big sister's house. She used to have barbecues all the time, and then we just kind of met and started talking about hair and things like that.
Wow. And you guys, you're both mixed?
Yes. Yeah.
What are you mixed with?
So my mother's black and my father's white.
Oh, you're like me. Okay. It's so rare to see that mix, right?
It is, but I swear, because of my mom's ability to, deal with the challenge of textured hair, she really taught me so many tricks and gifts and gave me a real knack for curls. My hair was easy compared to what she was used to, working with her whole life. Mm-hmm. So she really made me appreciate the which products to use to make your hair easier to maintain. So because I had a mother with textured hair, I feel like it really, really gave me an advantage.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Like my school pictures growing up, they're fantastic. My hair was laid, everything, baby hairs before baby hair. We see a lot of mixed girls. A lot of mixed girls with white moms back then anyway did not have it mastered.
Oh yeah, so, definitely if you had a white mom.
Well, I had the white mom.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
I was like,
life was great because I learned how to do hair.
Okay.
I mean, at the end of the day, you have to learn how to do it. So, I mean, come on, my mom definitely didn't have the same hair texture, so she embraced all that I had and was happy to have, a child that had different hair. So we were wild, right? We were running around like, hair here and there. But I had black ants. So, it was like, come on, get down on this lap. You fall asleep because they're hitting you with the comb while they're braiding the hair. Remember those? Yeah. But so I learned how to do my hair early. So my mom's Irish and my father's black.
Now, did you guys? That's so funny. Do you guys this sidebarring it? But do you guys notice any? How am I gonna word this safely?
Why?
So like, I have to say it safely. So I grew up with a black mom and the white father. You grew up with the white mom and the black father, and both parents stayed together on both sets.
No, not mine. Mine divorced when I was like 12.
Oh, okay. And
her parents are still married.
Yeah, we just celebrated their 60th wedding anniversary. They got married when they were in high school, Atlantic City High School, the same high school I was in.
Okay. Now, this is the question that's going to be... Don't get me...
Oh, I'm so scared.
Okay. So, when you grow up with the white mom, do you still feel... I don't know how I'm going to word
black?
This. Yes.
Absolutely.
It sounds crazy, but like, sometimes you meet some people with the say the mom's white, maybe they feel it's
a little more connected to her, rather than the father. I don't think that's the case with anyone. I think the case comes from parenting.
Okay.
So it's about how your parents, what they teach you, right? So growing up, my parents said, "You're Kim."
Okay.
End of story. You have a problem? Come to me. That's it. So I didn't have I needed to connect. I connected better with her or with him. I grew up in Culver City, California. Very, very mixed environment. Okay. So I grew up in this condominium complex. Shout out to Tara Hill. That's where I'm from. And there were so many mixed kids, whether they had a black mom, white dad, black dad, Asian mom. I mean, there were a blend of many people. So we kind of just were all connected. I don't think we really had an identity issue growing up because we were together, but elementary was great, right? Junior high came another story.
Okay.
It was like, so who are you? What you gonna choose? You think you're this,
which side,
that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And it was like, whoa, what's going on here? Or you started to see some of the kids that you grew up with acting a little different. Or, I think about in elementary school, you have the crush on Brian or, Ryan. Then you get to junior high and it was Marcus and, Jamal.
Hilarious.
It started to change.
Hilarious.
But no, I didn't have that issue. My father's very strong presence in my life. He was, the parent that kind of dictated our life. I knew where my father came from. I knew the struggles that he had, the challenges that he had, and still would face, right? So I understood my history. I understood how the world saw him and how they would see me. And I understood where my mom came from. And I understood the struggles they had being a couple in Long Island, New York. So there was no issue for me. But I can say I grew up with other friends, right? And I could see this one kind of tend to be a little bit more like this or that. But I also looked at the dynamic of the parenting. The mom sharing the heartache, the drama, with the dad, things that's not kids' business, right? So then you see how they start to choose their paths just based on the experiences of their parents.
Yeah, I definitely. Well, I'm low-key glad I asked that question. I would have thought that the response, I was expecting something different. Because
a little too lemony, but that's okay.
Oh, it'd be good. Put a little bit of the pepper, the chili.
That's spicy enough.
It is spicy?
I think that's going to be fine.
All right.
I love how you guys are.
I'm just
For
saying.
partners, you guys have been partners for such a long time, and it's really sister.
Everybody thinks we're sisters.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah,
I don't
even bother
want to
correcting
Suck it up, son.
I
Yeah,
don't
that's
want
what
to
I'm
harp
hoping.
on the mixed stuff.
it's okay.
I'm a mixed baby from the 80s. And going back to what you said, I saw racism for the first time around like 9 after we moved to upstate New York. We went from Brooklyn, never really questioned our race. Definitely the white side questioned, like, how would we identify? And that was like kind of scary for me. Like, what do you mean? How would I identify?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that since you guys are a little older, that maybe you guys had it even harder because we didn't know that many mixed people.
70s?
I had it
So
hard.
like,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
but to hear that, like, even the home environment, I was thinking maybe it's just the overall environment. Because even when I got to high school, it was like I couldn't like my homeboy, white boy Tom, because his parents were absolutely going to end that relationship because they didn't want us mixing with them. So it's different to hear, but I also like hearing like in Long Island that your parents had a struggle, but then in Culver City it was different.
Different.
Do you think it was I feel you, like, where it's like just it's not just your parents, but it's also that whole environment.
But I think it's about toleration too, right?
Yeah.
And it's about what you're going to deal with. And I think when you have had such struggle and you move on, you say, I'm not going to deal with that. And you have to make that change. It doesn't mean you're not going to experience anything, right? But that's where the foundation comes from. The foundation at home of understanding who you are, understanding that, hey, everyone's not going to like you. So get off of that high horse, right?
Yeah.
Don't think you're too cute. You're not something so special. You are here. But you know what? In life, nothing's fair, and you need to work hard and let people see you for your talent and who you truly are, rather than looking at you here, which people do all day, right?
Yeah.
But make a difference by being someone of substance.
Yeah.
And for me, like my parents, actually, my father got disowned for marrying my black mother. That's why they rushed it and got married in high school so he could take off to Vietnam. So, Atlantic City, that area is extremely segregated. So when I was young, we lived in the projects and, it was like hard to, we had to fight a lot just over nonsense. And then we ended up, to get away from the violence, we moved to this all-white neighborhood, the ones that the racist grandparents lived in, and lived with all white kids for a long time. And, I was called all kinds of names, but my dad taught us how to fight, so there was a lot of,
The dad taught her how to fight.
I know. See, a lot of knuckling up had to happen, and I didn't really want to. I feel like I would have been more of a love child. I feel like I naturally am, but, I always had to have my guard up. And then fortunately, when around the 6th grade, my dad he was in the military. He got stationed in Fort Carson, Colorado, and I lived on an Army base for the first time with so many other mixed children. It was like odd to not be mixed, kind of like what she experienced at Tara Hill. And that to me was like the Christmas special when they make it to the land of misfits and the guns go at each other. I really felt like that. Like I really identified, but I love that Christmas special. I watch it every year because that felt like me. So then when we went back to Atlantic City, instead of wanting to be like everybody else, I pitied them for their limited view because that's all they knew. And I was believing it too. But you have to have different perspectives and experiences to really know. So, some people, they should do more work, older people, but at the same time, we have to leave room in our hearts for forgiveness. And when you know better, you do better. A lot of them just don't know better.
Yeah, my mom definitely taught us to give grace, a lot of grace when dealing with racism, but I think it forced us to feel like if we're going to have to choose a side, I guess we're going to choose the side where what we've been called, which is obviously the N-word or, we're black or what have you. But it wasn't until like I was like 30, around 30, under 35, and I realized Trevor Noah had released a book, Born a Crime. After I read that book, I was like, oh, it's okay to say I'm mixed. But even in society, you'll see, like, they'll slam a mixed person for saying you're mixed versus, well, just claim black. Or the blacks will claim just black, and the whites definitely don't want you to claim white. So it's just like,
imagine where you are, right?
Yeah.
Imagine how a lot of children feel.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, why are we choosing?
The draft. Wait, some of those comedic drafts are really funny. When they pick which race they want the mixed person to be. You never saw
that's
that?
hilarious.
You've never seen it?
No, I've never seen it.
And then some people are like, no, you can have him. Like if somebody's in trouble, right?
Yes.
It's like a whole draft.
Yes,
on
like
which
what,
race
like,
you are.
I think having to Stacey Dash.
I'm sorry, they didn't want her.
They don't want her. Yeah,
yeah, because I heard politics or whatever.
But yeah, no, I feel
it was funny.
But it's interesting.
It's ready too if you guys want to serve
it looks
yourself.
delicious.
I hope it
now
is.
I see why the
Serve
parsley's
yourself.
important.
Yes. So whenever you're ready to serve yourself.
So you guys are both mixed chicks. Are you starting to struggle with your hair? Because curly hair is one of those hairs, well, I'm just speaking from experience, where it's like you fall in love with a product, and then all of a sudden one day your hair is like, you know what? I love you, but I'm used to this product. Switch teams or you guys probably battle that sometimes. Where
Never. We use the same product for 21 years. I want to say something because I hear people say that all the time. Oh, I can't use a product for so long. I have to switch products. I have to say, the proof is in the pudding. Look at all of this hair.
Yes.
And we're not young spring chickens here.
Hilarious.
I'm telling you the truth. So for us, you know what? We are our product.
Yeah.
And luckily for us, I don't switch products. I've been using the same products forever.
There's been times that like you go on vacation or maybe you didn't mean to, like you just thought you were like going for a day trip to the beach, but instead like you're like, oh, let's get a hotel here and you stay overnight and then you don't have your products.
Oh, you're in trouble.
And you're trying to use something that the hotel has. You realize like, oh my gosh, like what would I do without it? Or you find something in the grocery store that's not mixed chicks, and then I'm really grateful that I have a warehouse full. The hotel. That's what I meant in the hotel. So, but prior to that, when I talked about just my mother being able to teach me how to deal with textured hair, that wasn't the only. Well, just mixing and matching products. Growing up. We had to, the one aisle, like the only ethnic aisle was like dusty in the back corner, and it had pink oil, VO5, and something like was like dark shoe shine for men to slick their hair down. Like no, they didn't have a lot of good stuff back there. Oh, there you go, Murray's.
I remember Murray's.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, TCB. No, because back then at one point,
they
Jerry
had
curls were in TCB.
I remember TCB.
Yes, there was curl activator.
Okay.
So over the years, I had mixed and matched so many things from both aisles that you had to master your own concoction because it just wasn't out there. None of us were there creating products. We were just taking what they fed us instead of making something for us. So Kim and I were really surprised when we met and started sharing, different secrets over the years of our concoctions. And
you guys were already individually making your own concoctions?
Our whole life.
I had a complete concoction that everybody that met me would be like, oh my gosh, what are you using in your hair? And I'd say, do you have a pen?
That's hilarious.
We'd write it down, and then I started mixing it, and actually let me just pre-mix it for you here.
Oh yeah, I would just try a product and then like break up with the product until I found the product, which I never did till Mixed Chicks. But I never even thought of the genius idea of trying to
blend.
Of course, because you want that style, right? You want that look.
My mom was a hairdresser too, growing up, so it's not just that.
So you guys were swapping recipes at some point?
Yeah, I feel like I shared my kind of concoction. She shared some extra stuff about it. We went to a lab, we worked with a chemist, and we mastered our own concoction.
But before you went to the lab and started saying, like, we have something here, like, can you talk more about, like, that pre-experience right before Mixed Chicks?
like I said, I was
what we were using?
What we were using?
Well, not what you were using,
mean,
but like
what
you
we
guys.
were
So you guys
doing?
were starting to hang out. So you're starting to hang out. You become friends, and then are you guys like starting to complain about the hair products? Like, how does it come about?
You know,
It's
when
our
you have
whole
curly
life.
hair, we get on the boat together, and it's like, look at this shit, right? Like, look at my hair, you know. And it's like, oh God, look, try this one. No, this one on this time, and you know, after a while, your hair and the what kind of day it's gonna have,
here's
it
the
consumes your
thing.
day sometimes.
Here's the thing, it was never consistent. So every day, no matter what you used, what you blend, you know, all the different things, some days you had a great day. Some days you just didn't. And you're like, what went wrong? And that was what the conversation was about. The conversation was like, God, your hair looks so good today. What did you use? You know what I mean? But, you know, it was an everyday thing for us, but it was a problem forever for us. But we were so accustomed to dealing with it, it was normal.
And I was also an athlete in high school, so the option of like wearing your hair straight was, I mean, all the time you put into it and then you sweat it out. So I had to figure out how to get wash and go curls. You had to, because it was just a way of life.
So then tell me about like that first conversation where you go, let's kind of I want to enjoy all of this. So that first conversation where you're like, maybe we have something here, or what do you think about actually making this legit? Like, who had that idea first, or how did that happen?
I believe I had kind of the concoction that I would pre-mix that was kind of like something that I like just had. I didn't just, and it was for years this thing developed depending on what got discontinued and what didn't, this mix of 10 different things. In Kim and I's conversations, she was like, listen, let's go to the mall and watch, or let's go out and watch how many people ask what we use in our hair. Watch. We couldn't get from 3 stores without somebody asking, what do you use in her hair? And she's like, listen, I know I know a lab. We can go there. We're going to start our own thing. At this point, I had like left the music industry and I was a gym teacher at North Hollywood High School.
Oh, okay.
And she's like, girl, we're going to start our own thing. We're about to be rich. And I looked at her like she was crazy. Because I'm thinking it had to have already been done. It had to have already been done. And as we did the research, it had not been done.
And was any part of you like looking at Kim like, this girl's crazy? Or were you like, if anybody's gonna have this idea, it's Kim, and she, you know.
No, she didn't know me that well.
No, I was friends with her sister.
No, she didn't know me that well. I think Wendy comes from a background of stability, right? Like she needs to have a job. Like you have
Health
to
insurance.
Everything, right? And you know, I just come from more of, you know, there's nothing you can't do, right? So that's just the attitude. It was exciting. Our issue, we realized, was just not our issue. So maybe that's the problem solver in me. That's a bit of a problem with me, right? Always trying to solve the problem. But it was like, okay, wait a minute. We've had consistent hair for these amount of days. Now go out and see how many people ask you. But the reality is, we didn't realize this has probably been happening our whole lives, that people will ask us. We just don't pay attention to it. So then when we started just to pay attention to that small little step, it was like, there's a bigger issue here, right? We're making a product for us. Our friends won't give back the samples. They want more and more and more. But guess what's happening? People are asking us all over, so everyone's starting to have this issue, or everyone's been having this issue. So guess who's going to solve it? We are.
So what did you think of her when she was just like, okay, we're going to solve this problem?
I just thought it was
And you guys
more
weren't
like,
even that close.
She thought it was a hobby.
Not a hobby. Well, for me, it was a hobby. Just
for her,
but for
it was
me,
a hobby.
For me, it was like,
Because it was new.
I thought it was kind of a California thing. I didn't think she was just crazy. I just thought, wow, Californians are really
We're
like
just
entrepreneurs.
dreamers.
No, not just dreamers. Wow, they take chances. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Like to me, there's no way I could like probably sleep at night if I didn't have health insurance. Isn't that
That's
crazy?
so funny.
So,
well, no.
I
think
we're both
it's a
tourists.
tourist
We're
thing.
both tourists.
It's definitely
women.
like a
thing.
more, but even like, because you're in your 20s or early, or maybe early 30s.
When we started?
When we
you
started?
how?
I was 31.
Okay, early 30s. Okay. I'll be honest, until I had a kid, I didn't care about health insurance. Then I was like, well, I guess I need to stay healthy, you know, we need to stay healthy. But before kid, never thought about it. I'm definitely more entrepreneur set, but I you could see the difference. You're saying like I'm thinking about health insurance. You're like, do we really need it? Right? I'm guessing that's you're like.
No, you know why? Maybe because I worked in television my whole life. We didn't have health insurance. Okay?
I definitely said that. There's no health insurance.
We didn't have health insurance. No, that's not. I mean, it just simply was like, it was exciting to be challenged, to have something exciting. Imagine in life, like right now, we're all in our regular schedules, right?
Yeah.
Every day. What about having a do-over? How exciting would that be? Right?
Good, yeah.
Yeah, because it's kind of our schedules are just repetitive,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Our life is monotonous.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, this is something new. It's exciting and challenging. And I rise to a challenge.
So you were a gym teacher when Mixed Chicks is starting to formulate. What were you
And
doing?
a basketball ref. I was reffing basketball on the side to make money.
Okay, and what were you doing?
I was doing PR.
Oh,
Some athletes.
Okay.
Yeah, I came out of TV and I was doing some PR.
And so you were already kind of on that entrepreneur path.
I was working for myself.
Okay. So
So
now
I was always kind of working for myself, if you think about it.
and then
When you work in TV, you're not a part of the studio. You're working for yourself. So that's kind of been my life.
A little bite.
So
Yes.
we're gonna try this
Yes.
linguine right now. Before we get into the depths of Mixed Chicks.
Yeah, go ahead, Kim. Well, what's all the seasoning? You didn't use no seasoning.
Kim, now that the camera's rolling, talk your talk. Tell her what she's missing.
I mean, the lemon is good. You know what I mean? You thought it was too lemony, but the lemon is good. I
Okay.
think it's good.
That's all you gonna say?
I mean, you know, I like there's a little kick from the little pepper. Yeah.
Okay.
I just, spice mine up a little bit.
What would you have
it's good.
spiced it with if
Just a little. Listen, the fresh garlic is always the best. I probably would have just used, a little bit of garlic powder, just a little extra. A little bit of lemon pepper. But that's just me. It's like I use the same seasonings on everything, even though, things taste different. That's all.
So
But it's good.
it tastes great.
It
I added
tastes very flavorful.
yeah,
just
it's
like
100%
this.
flavorful. I
Which is
definitely
fine.
don't think you use too much lemon.
No,
you
I
use
think
the
the
right
lemon
amount.
is perfect.
Okay.
And,
Yes.
and I added Parmesan cheese to mine.
Yeah, I think it's good.
So it's really good. The little clams makes me feel like this ain't a broke dish.
I feel like when you chop up fresh ingredients, it never
best.
tastes broke to me.
Because of the cooking process.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
For
almost
y'all.
like the
It's like
clam,
you're a chef.
It's almost the clam broth and all those things just saute them for a little while, almost create a little roux in a sense.
Yeah.
right?
And for the listeners at home, definitely 10 out of 10. This dish is high rated.
Bang for buck. Bang for buck.
Bang for a buck.
Absolutely.
Definitely bang for a buck. And I will say that I would have never thought to saute the garlic, the butter, and the clams prior to, like, in a separate pan. So if you guys are making it at home, use a separate pan.
So
Brilliant, yeah.
every dish I usually cook, I'm sure Wendy probably does too. I always saute my onions, my garlic, whether it's olive oil or butter in the beginning, just to get that, base, and then add whatever you're cooking.
So you did olive oil and butter together.
I did, but you don't have to.
I think she
You
just
could
put a
do
little
one
bit of
or
olive
other.
oil in
I
the
probably
beginning.
put, a tablespoon.
This is delicious because
two.
I guarantee you all of us are going to finish this plate. It's delicious. 100% delicious. Now, Mixed Chicks. So when you guys first came out, I have a basket full of products. When you first came out, well, I'm a fan of your guys, it was conditioner and shampoo. At some point, you guys are like, let's go to a lab. Tell me about those first steps. Were you just making it up as you went along? Or were you trying to find mentors in the space? How did it go?
No, we didn't even. We just went for it. We started out by like I said,
one product.
Kim secured the lab. We went there with an ingredient deck right? So we had to look the combination of products that we did use, mix and match, like those 10. A lot of them had common ingredients, but you have to come up with, you make your potion, and then you have to have an ingredient deck when you go to a chemist so that they can begin the process of creating what you want.
And then they use the proper raw materials.
The raw materials, and then you make notes, and then you go like round 2, round 3, until you get exactly the formula that you want.
So you would after they mix it, you would come home and test it?
Yes.
So,
and then based
yeah.
on our notes. So then we, fortunately, I mean, it's interesting because if it was just a couple years prior, we would have had to go to the library to look up the ingredients. But it was like the very beginning kind of the internet and searches. So we could search all of these key ingredients and actually learn their functions, learn about what was good for you, what was bad for you, what might be the hardening product. So if we got it and our hair was stiff, we could actually speak in the correct terms and say, no, lower such and such ingredient, it was too stiff. Or, increase this, increase that. We knew the difference between.
So you guys had to know that, not the chemist.
Well, we had to learn it to give proper notes. We're not somebody who private labels. Some brands will get a formula that's already done and put their name on it, right? Where we really, really wanted to create it to our specific needs.
Well, if you look at the back of products, well, not today because people don't put their real ingredients. That's a big problem on labels.
Oh,
but when you look at the products, first of all, the first 4, 5, 6 are the same ingredients on most products, whether it's your shampoo, your conditioner. Okay. Now people are just putting essential oils in the beginning. Impossible that the product's full of essential oils. You have to have water. You have to have, all kinds of stabilizers, right, in your product. You have to have a preservative in your product if you're going to sit on the shelf. But when we started to recognize that most of the products, whether we had 10 products, the first 5 may be the same, right? And then you start to see the added ingredients, right? The surfactants or the conditioning agents or, what, takes away the static in the product, right? So you start seeing all of those different things. When we were able to Google, thank God, because Google had come into play. You could say, okay, well, this is what this is saying. Maybe that's not great for me, What happens if we take that out? Is it necessary to have that? That's what a chemist does, right? Tells you this is the reason why this needs to be in here because it stabilizes the product. This helps with the pH balance. This helps with this. Some things in products when we began, they threw everything in products back in the day.
Yeah.
So then you just start pulling out of there. And that's what you notice now. A lot of brands, everyone's kind of making products as simple as possible.
Yeah.
So a lot of the things that, products started out as, they're not the same now because, people started the products started getting regulated, right? I was going to say the FDA, Prop 65, MOCRA, all of these different regulatory agencies.
So when you're dealing with, after you get the product, you get the potion that you want, then you have to still get it cleared through the FDA and all those other guys, or how does that process
Well, regulation is pretty serious now, right? Like depending on where you're selling. If you're selling in Europe, you have to be EU compliant. They have different rules and throughout Europe. So it's a whole different testing there. Here in California, where we are, Prop 65 is a real thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. Sometimes, say, and I hate to say, if you're driving through McDonald's or if you're shopping for something, you'll see labels, right? This product may contain materials that can cause cancer. These are all
Prop 65 warnings. If anything has anything that could potentially cause cancer, you have to warn it.
Yeah, even if it doesn't prove
they don't
it.
put it on half the food they sell at the grocery store.
Why?
And that's different. Food is different.
Oh, is food different? Because I feel like a lot of the food that they're giving us,
food is different.
Some may be in it, no?
Food is different. Food labeling is different.
I think there's ways to cheat and get around it in a lot of
in food.
Everywhere. But not as much now because you have these ambulance chasing attorneys that are just pulling every single product and reading their labels or testing their products, and they like to go after the small guys because the big guys like the Procter and Gamble's, the L'Oreal's, they all have a legal team that can fight.
And there are things sometimes like our lab is ordering, our raw materials, right? So if they get the fragrance, if they source it somewhere, and they get the safety data sheet, we believe that safety data sheet, right? Whatever's in that fragrance, and they're not always forthright. So what happens to a lot of small brands, once an attorney figures out that this one lab is distributing a fragrance that has such and such in it that is illegal, but we don't know, some kind of byproduct of a natural ingredient.
A blend, yeah.
And we don't know, and it wasn't revealed to us, but then they get a hold of your products, they test it, they tell you, and now you're being sued for something that you really
had no
somebody
knowledge
else
about.
lied to you, some other lab lied to the lab that you sourced it. So it's good that we've had a relationship with our lab for all 24 years. So, we have a lot of access to them and honesty and trust there. So we've been pretty safe. But a lot of brands I feel for when I see them getting taken down, because the big brands, they have that same thing in it, but
Now,
they won't sue them. Because
that's what I was about to ask.
Money.
Do you think the big brands feel a little threatened by some of the smaller brands, and then they just, I hate to say it, but like take them out? Because I mean, if you're that size, you could be like, hey,
Of course.
Yes.
such and such.
Yes.
Well, because the smaller brands are the entrepreneurs. They're the women, right? They're like the brands that began for a reason. They weren't just trying to capitalize on the consumer and make money. Everything was from the heart. So I think maybe there's just that they're not the what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say authentic, but they're not the creator.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're not the creative force behind it. And I mean, there's the difference between entrepreneurs and the big boys.
Yeah, and the big boys, like, I hate to use their actual names, but like I would imagine like a Procter and Gamble type are the big boys, right? Or whoever owns like the Murrays and the TCBs back in the day. They
own a lot of us now too.
The big guys.
Yeah.
And they call it now, like, we are a black owned company and certified, black, female owned and certified. That used to really mean something. The big boys have interchanged it with black founded. So they use a black face there and they just say it's black founded, and we end up believing that it's black owned and it's not. And that's a lot of major brands that are out there that we all support.
I believe that because I tried. My daughter's hair is a little bit curlier than mine, so I always dibble and dabble, and her hair is like fine, but curlier. So I test different things. But I remember one time I got a product. I probably was black founded, but definitely I could just tell immediately. Well, I was like, this is probably like a white brand or some big company that
created it ain't using
yeah,
it.
this isn't. Come on, man. And now I've gotten to the point where I could touch a product and tell you if it's gonna work or not.
Well, you know what used to be a big issue when we began? I mean, there were probably 8 brands. We were all different. We all serviced, something. If something didn't work for you, someone else's product did. And that was the beauty of the brands at that time, right? Everything's not for everybody, but there was a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, and everyone has a choice today too. But every brand that was founded at that time in the 2000s really was from a personal need, but thinking about the consumer, who is our consumer. So when we all began at that time, it was a hot thing, right? We were all online. We were selling online. We weren't in retail stores. And actually, Richelieu Dennis, who owned Shea Moisture at the time, he was the first to go into mass retail. So
Is he black or white?
He's black.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just want to
he's
make
black.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, because people think, who is it? Sweet Baby Ray's. They'd be like, that's black owned. And I'm like, it's
Barbecue
not.
sauce?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can get your black-owned barbecue sauce buying Bobby Brown Foods, okay? Just giving that little shout
Bobby
out.
Brown, shout out.
Yes, thank you. So, but, so when Rich, started, I mean, and we always laugh, but this is the way we used to sell products like we were selling records out of the trunk of our car. I mean, that's just how we
love
were
that.
pushing it. We were pushing
So
it.
you guys would show up to like games and be like, here.
We had these
Selling.
little
Did you
pillow
have-
packs, right? They were our samples. They're called pillow packs, but what was our nickname? Hot tamales. So like
Creamy crack.
creamy
The
crack. liquid gold, everything. Let's name it. But we were pushing them. I mean, we were pushing them like, here, try this, try this. You know, everywhere.
We just always had a box in the car. So you
I
saw somebody
love
probably
it.
like, wait. Sometimes if it was
And then
nighttime,
at this point, you were just selling online.
Yes.
And you were pushing these out of your
Oh,
car.
pushing it
And
like
then-
samples,
and Simply
or were
Wholesome.
you actually trying
And
to sell
Simply
too?
Wholesome.
we were the
And shout
real
out-
dealers,
yeah.
baby.
I love it.
Okay, we were the pusher.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
For real.
And-
But when we started, and I was just saying, when he came into retail, there were only like 5 people that went on the first wave, right? And these were all brands founded, run by, owned by Black individuals, women and men. So it was great because we were all online. So our price points were, wherever we saw fit. I mean, it wasn't like we knew the rules. We made up the rules, right? And it was really based on like the cost of our goods or, just what we thought our products were worth. It was fine. We made good money. It was great. Everyone was for it. But once we went into mass retail, there were things that we didn't know we should have considered.
Like what?
Like you can go on the shelf, but they're going to charge you a slotting fee, or your returns can take you out of being on that shelf. So once there was a retailer, once you sell into them, they could return all of that merchandise to you. Once that they've paid you, all of a sudden those products come back to you because customers return them, they're damaged,
Or like this, another common practice in mass retail is like she said about they're charging you for the door, right? So say there's a new line review and we want to add a product to the products that are up on the shelves now. When we were younger and they said, oh, great, we're going to put you in all of the doors right away, right? You get excited and you let them put you in 5,000 doors.
Yeah.
If you don't have the promotions and the people to support that, in 6 months, they're going to go, we're shrinking you down to 2,000 doors. You owe them, and then they put your product for 25% off, then half off, and then clearance, and you owe them every dime they didn't make.
The heck?
Every
Yeah.
dime. So when you get shrunken on a shelf, you're fucked.
Oh, you can say it
so-
loud into the mic.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
She said you're fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but wait. So, like, you get this phone call, and you're like, oh, my God, we
No,
got
it's not
5.
a phone call. You
no,
get an email.
You get an email. But are you, now, at this point, are you reaching out to them, or are they reaching out to you?
You're having a meeting
They're-
like with your
Got it.
distributor.
The
Okay.
annual line
And then
review,
you get really excited. Hey, I got 5,000 retailers.
Yeah, of
new
course
doors.
it's exciting.
Yeah.
Now, at that point, if you don't have the bankroll to help promote, well, and I have 2 questions. When you start out, are they, because I learned, especially since having a kid, that product placement in stores, they are very genius by putting the candy in the checkout section.
Yeah.
That is half for every parent, right?
Yes.
But like, as I got older, I started realizing like where you shelf place and where they put you in
important.
the store. So like if they roll out 5,000 stores, right? They're not going to start you at the premium placement, right?
It depends on who you are and when you began. Now, I'll be honest, when we went into retail with the rest of the group, like we went a year after, we all had prime real estate.
Okay.
We were all right there for everyone to see because there was a demand. We were original, we were genuine, we were authentic, and the consumer wanted our product. You start to lose that space when the big boys realize, wow, there's money to be made here.
Oh, and then that's when they do
they're
the
able
founded
to
by?
pay for that space.
Yes. They either pay for the space. That was how they first came in. But more recently, now that this world is so trendy due to social media and people's just love of famous people, the big boy now will get a famous face. Or that social media, the person with all the followers just can say, I'm actually going to launch a brand now. And because of that following, a mass retailer might give them prime space with no experience because they understand how much promotion that is for their store.
Jesus.
Social
Yeah.
media is running things.
It's king. It's everything. And listen, we're a 21-year-old brand, right? So, we need to pivot. I mean, of course, still running a band, you have to pivot. But we're some old broads. We're not doing all of that. Meaning,
Yeah.
I'm not going on social media acting like I'm living the
And we
good
still
life.
You guys
We
are
still have the
like a
teenage-
more legendary brand at this point.
Yeah.
Like you guys
Called
were-
a legacy brand.
Yeah, a legacy. I would say a legacy brand. So you don't have to do as much.
We have to do a lot.
no,
You still do.
What
Oh
do you
my
mean? We're
goodness.
hustling like
Because
it's
now
day
social-
one.
Are you
social-
serious? Still
Yeah,
to
it's
this day?
not the same.
because
Really?
of social media. It's not. It doesn't. The quality of the product is not where the sale comes from. It comes from the trend.
Yeah, I could see that.
So it's just different.
Times are different for everybody, right? I think a lot of consumers shop based on their pocketbook, so sometimes okay is just okay, instead of it has to be perfect or the best.
I 100% agree with you though, because and I don't know how to do this delicately. Mixed Chicks is a legacy brand. I do see like when say I'm gonna say this delicately, like a Tracy Ellis Ross becomes a face of a brand, right? Everyone's talking about it, but they're only talking about it because it's a face of a brand. Now, I'm not gonna totally slam her. I did test the product. Didn't like the product, not hating on the product.
She was a great customer.
She was,
of ours.
yeah,
and
but-
up to
But you get what I'm saying? Like,
Of
I
course.
bought it because
Of course.
everyone jumped on the brand because it was, you see this girl, she looks like us, right? She's famous. So we went in, we bought the product.
she's funny as
She's
can
cool.
be.
She's cool.
She's-
Definitely
yeah.
don't hate her, but
Yeah.
I'll try. My whole thing is I'll try everything at least once.
Of course.
I'll try. If you guys gave me some absolutely ridiculous, I'll be like, but I'll try it. So I do see how a lot of my peers were like, oh, she has this line, let's go try it. And it is trendy to be like the person that's trying the new Kylie. You can have the same lip gloss you've been using forever. So I can see where you say like, you know what? No, we still have to bust our ass because the trend is everyone's hopping on the bandwagon. And it's not about how good the product is. It's just jumping on
We
that
do
bandwagon.
have our loyal customers who
Yes.
are like in our wheel, which is
Yeah.
beautiful, and we're so grateful for them. There was one other part that I left out of mass retail, just the shift also to the convenience of shopping online and Amazon. The stores are suffering on the shelf level, right? So their ask from us is more than it used to be. They want us to give them more promos, which we have to pay. All promos, they take it out of the invoice that they're about to pay you, that they have your product of. So these are the things that are done.
Promos.
Just don't
Even the
know.
way people are stealing now.
Promotions.
These mob thefts and all of this, and people just swiping. You see people running out of Walgreens.
Remember
and stuff,
during
and
COVID?
CVS,
Yeah.
And they're still doing it.
We get
we're
billed
getting
for that.
asked now, like the shrinkage of the stores is overwhelming, just missing product, and they'd like to take that out of our invoice too. So the negotiations have gotten pretty steep. That's all. It's just like,
Are you guys now? If you're a brand, are you able to like call them up and haggle it
No.
out?
It
or-
depends on who the buyer is.
No.
Some buyers are more accessible. than
No, we're
others.
still paying.
You still pay.
You still pay.
You still pay.
No.
You just
Listen,
have to.
it's just a different world
Are
now.
you guys more thankful now that the shift is going back online now? Because then, or is like retailers like Amazon charging like crazy amounts?
No. We started as an online
Yeah,
business, right? So we began to pivot about 6 years ago back online.
Okay.
So online's been great for us. But again, you have an Amazon. Luckily, we have presence there. We're selling there. I mean, I think the consumer is about convenience.
100%.
And if they can go to Amazon and they can find all of our products that they can't find at a store,
100%.
that's what they're going to do.
100%.
And we're grateful for
Yeah.
that. But it is a different time. Nothing lasts forever. Okay? We've been in this game 21 years. That's a big feat.
It's been a good run.
At the end of the day, it's a good
Really.
feat. You can look at tons of brands and listen, God bless everyone who got in and got out, right? They got in, they got out. We're still in it. But we went to 21 years. We're at 21 years. People didn't go past 10 years.
Yeah.
So, hard work, determination, perseverance, we're still standing, but it's a different day.
And then when you 21 years in the game, you have to be the best pivoter because a lot has happened in 21 years. Print faded, digital came in, stores were
No,
hot,
we're just
now
running
they're
in
gone.
circles.
But are you guys now like almost like foreseeing the storm before it comes? Are you guys in that phase of life?
The
Or are
storm,
you?
the storm,
The storm is
here.
hit. The
The
storm
storm
is
is here.
hit. We're in the hurricane, baby.
So no, but
Call
this is it.
FEMA.
But
You're hilarious.
At the same time, like in our 50s, so, your wants, your priorities, they shift.
Mm-hmm.
We have teenage girls. We have 20 kids in their 20s. So it's like, and then health changes, menopause hits, and just priorities kind of shift, and what you're grateful for shifts. So even though there's a storm, and at the same time, I'm learning to be more grateful about things outside of that. Just whether you wake up without a pain that day, or to have healthy parents, or to just see your kids smiling and just laughing for a bit. I'm trying to find more joy in that, so that you can have like authentic power and move through any storm. It's work, but that's where my head has been.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, I'm a single mom, so the work doesn't stop for me.
I just became a single mom. High five.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's hell.
I don't.
It doesn't stop for me.
Yeah.
So even though there's a shift, I dig in deeper because I'm the sole provider. So you know what I mean? Times have changed. Life is lifing. But I mean, thank God I'm still here, and I'm still going to press on until the fat lady sings.
Yeah.
And that's really what it's about.
I'm curious, what is a day in the life of you guys, and what responsibilities? How do you guys, who handles what in the company? You can start with
We used to kind of do it all.
you like swap.
Yeah, it was like we wore 8 hats each, and everything kind of interchanged. I finished her sentence, she started that job, finished my job, whatever it was. But as we've kind of moved on, we've kind of fell into the spots that we're best at. But at this point, we have discussions where sometimes the balance isn't fair over the years, and it takes it. It's you have to really be a partner and dig in and figure out how to get through that. Currently. Kim does a lot of sales and would like me to do more sales. I do a lot of.
I love that you're really, really saying this right now.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
the truth
that.
about
Okay,
business.
Let's keep it real.
Okay, so that's really real. Okay.
Yeah, but see, I really enjoy math, and I manage all of the inventory, like that's coming and going, and trying to make sure that we don't run out of things, and that's like a constant thing. And also, there's a whole lot of things there that's a full-time job. But we all wear our hats, and we got to sit down and hash it out to keep it or make it fair. But we've been doing it for 21 years, and I don't have any doubt that we won't figure it out.
You guys will continue to grow, definitely.
Thank
It doesn't
you.
surprise me that Kim would be responsible for sales, because usually as the entrepreneurial one, you're like constantly
Hustling.
hunting
Yeah,
your
and I'm
next
accounts
skill.
receivables too, because
Yeah.
I need to see where our money is going. Like every bill that comes in, I'm thinking about
it makes
bill,
sense
bill,
though.
bill.
Even like looking at how you guys lined up originally, to see that that's how the workload is kind of like you're more into this section. It actually lines up with all the way down to your guys' beginning roots. Like even with you, like where's the money going? Like you're more the stability kind of one, and
Well, God forbid the ground shakes. She's freaking out.
I love.
Yeah,
She's like, I'm running. I'm going here. I got to hold on. Whatever. And I just ride the roller coaster.
And then she's all casual, like, we'll get through
Well,
this. We
it's
got through it
life.
last week, right?
Yeah.
We'll be fine.
It's week to week. It's week to week at the end of the day.
I love it. 21 years later, and you're still saying this. Now, when you guys branch into these different products, can you just talk just a little bit about like what that process looks like, and whether or not it's an extreme headache and risky when you do that? Because you have your main staples, and then you have...
Well, I mean, our leave-ins are staple. It's still
Yeah.
our number one selling
Yeah.
product, right? And obviously, we moved on to shampoo, conditioner from customer demand. But as Wendy, we were talking about retail earlier, they always want something new, right? Like, we didn't come from that. Like, we came on a stable ground that, hey, it works. We solved the problem.
Yeah,
We're
you solved
done.
this problem, yeah.
Right. We thought that's what it was. We forgot, oh my God, we're never satisfied, right? Women, we're never satisfied. We always want something new. Or when you buy those great shoes, oh yeah, those shoes are the bomb, right? But guess what? We do want another pair of shoes.
Yes, we do.
But where are we going to get the shoes from? Well, I love that brand. So if they have a different type of shoe, because I know they're dependable, I know that, I can rock them for this amount of time and they're great or they're comfortable, I'm going to go back to them. So we had to start thinking that way. We didn't think that way right away. We were going off of the demand of the customer.
The customer, or was it the
It was
brand?
first the
First, it was
customer.
the customer.
Okay.
Then it became
the
the
store started demanding. And when the store just became more of a copycat syndrome, and that's something we never have been. Like, so when you're running a race, right, you don't look back. You don't look to the side. You have to keep looking forward. So we had to start blocking that out. And I don't really think we ever copied. We just listened to, we need something else from you. We want a collection from you. But the problem is when you start making things because they're asking, if they don't take it, then you're stuck with the product. Right? So
this is a
we
dangerous
had to
I
go
would have
back.
anxiety.
We had to go back to
it.
making what we know our consumer would look for. We knew we had our online outlet. We knew there were online outlets for our consumer to find the product. So we just have to keep running it that way. We didn't keep up with the stores. So I think people would say, oh, well, you know, they didn't turn over a new product every year. But why would we? We're not going to. Like, we can't. How many people have, you know, well, when we started, no one had a leave-in conditioner. Only we had a leave-in conditioner.
We all know as mixed chicks, we need
It was
leave-in
us.
conditioners, right?
Now there's 55 leave-in conditioners.
Yes.
You know, we had a deep conditioner. Everyone had a conditioner. We had a deep conditioner. Now everyone has a deep conditioner. So what happens is they start saying, oh, there's too many leave-in conditioners. There's too many deep conditioners. So we just try to make products that we know we need, that our consumer says, oh, I love this, you know, would you guys think about making something like that? And most times these are people who have been loyal to us for so long. It's nice to listen to their wants and their desires, especially when they want to stay within the brand.
Yeah.
And that's what we try to do. Again, how many shampoos and conditioners can you make? I mean, it just becomes that you're just making so many.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You know, not for us. Like, we're not changing all of these scents, you know. They're just making the same product with a different fragrance. We're not doing all of that. Sorry. I mean, I know everyone's looking for that, but we're just not doing it. We want products that work.
And then this is the question that's probably going to have you guys thinking for a second, but was there, in the whole 21-year span, was there ever a real pivotal moment where you guys were like, that's it, I'm done? What was that moment? And what was the thing that got you over the hump?
I'm done.
I'm done. I don't think
You guys
that's
never had the
happened.
I'm done moment? I have it all the time. Well, that's because my cash flow's tighter over here. But you guys never had that moment of like, oh, I just like.
I mean, there's frustration constantly and anxiety, like you said, but it's not, I'm done.
Well,
like,
it's obviously 21 years, but I'm saying, was there ever a point of that, like, I can't deal with this?
I think there are times when we could say we were overlooked several times in different areas, right? Like, we weren't the choice intentionally, right? That's frustrating. When
You mean from who, though?
name it. I mean, whether it's a distributor, whether it's a retailer, I'm just saying there's a time, sometimes they're favorites, right? And we could say, wow, we've been selling that product for about 4 years, and now they're taking that from these people. Like, what's the deal, right? I mean, we went through all of that, but you can't be a crybaby.
Yeah.
You can't whine over it. You just have to move on and do something else.
Yeah, and sometimes in the ethnic aisle, the name Mixed Chicks isn't black enough.
Right.
And we get a little heat on that. We did more so years ago, but now that
Yeah.
everybody understands they're a mixed chick and this whole world and section is multicultural, it's different. But in the beginning, when we really needed, to be somebody's favorite, to have to challenge all the time, something like that,
But look
wasn't
at where
fair.
everyone's going.
It's crazy because it's also kind of what sets you apart for that lane of people. Because I remember going through the products and, you either had your black, you had a certain coily hair, even like, I'm not going to mention name brands because I want to focus on mixed chicks. But yeah, at that time when mixed chicks came out, I loved that you guys carved out that lane. It was like, this is what we handle. This is,
And we grew up in a time where when we were checking a box, we had to check one.
Only.
Yeah, I remember that. Now I check both.
Right.
And that to us
And they don't
and that's-
unclick it. Because back in the day, if you check both, they would unclick it.
yes.
What do you
like,
mean?
You could only...
They pull you to the side at school. Excuse me.
So
you
the-
can only
the-
be one.
Yeah.
The name-
And then you know what one that had to be.
Of course.
I said, you know what one that had to be.
Yeah. And then when you have a mouthy child, you're saying why.
Yeah.
But that's what it was.
Yeah.
But I think we have to be very proud that when we did come out, regardless of the static, regardless of our bottle saying whether you're black, white, Asian, Latin, Mediterranean, or any glorious combination, we told the consumer who we were.
Yeah,
We
I love
said
it.
it from the beginning. There's no guessing, right? Well, what's that mean, mix? What are you talking about? Read the
Yeah.
bottle.
Yeah.
That's what we are.
We did leave out native.
We did leave out
we-
Native American or Pacific Islander.
Pacific Islander.
Hey, we're
Over the
continuing
years, we've
to
listened
grow.
to our customer. And we're like,
Yes.
oh, we
yes.
gotta add
We
that.
we
So,
left all of that out, but it's for everyone, right?
Yeah.
And I think we truly have always, from day one, been multicultural. We paved that lane that is now multicultural.
And now it's kind of, now do you feel like the market's oversaturated?
Yes.
Because sometimes I feel like that.
It
When I
is.
walk into a store, I'm like, now, like I said, now I'm buying products that I'm like, yeah, you this is just a label just to get me to buy it.
But you know what? There's the pros and the cons of that, right? Because let's really think about for all of the decades that we didn't have a choice.
True.
Think about it. For all of the decades that no one was focusing on products for us. So that is a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah.
It is a beautiful thing. It's just not beautiful when you're not telling a real story. That's what
100%
it is.
agree.
So don't front and tell this story. Just say, you know what? I saw that this was a market and I wanted to get in on it and we want to provide something for you. That's great. We can all respect that. But don't tell our story.
Yeah, don't tell the story about how you were mixing it in your kitchen and selling it out of your garage.
No.
No.
No, but you can always tell the difference right away between an authentic story and that, you know?
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much for feeding me a broke dish and taking time out. Oh, backtrack. You guys didn't tell me a day in the life of you guys right now. Like, what's a day in the life? I desperately want to know. Like, what's the average day in the life of you guys?
Oh, wow.
It depends. Like, okay, so,
Our lives are different.
COVID has changed them and given us a little more time.
Okay.
Prior to that, like a day in the life was, I mean, literally like every, at least once a month, or at least once a month, we were packing up to go somewhere in the country to do a trade show, which meant we are packing pallets, taping them up ourselves, getting there, unloading 1,000 pounds of products. This is after we put our kids to sleep and cook all their meals and stick it in the refrigerator so they can eat while we're away, and make sure the pets are taken care of and
Holy
all that stress.
shit.
So all that anxiety of like just leaving your family to get there, and then all the manual labor, and then you wake up in the morning and then you're smiling for 3 days telling people how to use your products in hopes to secure a new customer or a salon or or find somebody that's better at packaging, whatever it is, to network. And we were doing that, and also the line reviews for all of the places that we wanted to be in or keep our
We
products
traveled
on the
a
shelf.
lot.
A lot, and it would be like for 20-minute meetings sometimes. We had to fly to Woonsocket, Rhode Island for a 20-minute meeting and then fly all the way back here. And then catch up at work because we're still processing orders. We're still on a busy sale on our internet. We're out in the garage taping boxes with our employees. I mean, it was all like crazy, like this. It was like
fun.
that. It was fun. It was like
And
that.
you guys started without having any children.
She
No,
she
my
had
daughter.
one.
I have a 25-year-old.
So you had,
And I had a stepson.
okay, so you
I had a
had, but you had a
stepson.
young kid.
I did.
Oh, you were,
Yeah.
Right.
I was a
So-
young child.
dang, that's crazy because you guys you became a mom. You were absolutely,
My mom the whole
Superhero
time.
level,
And then had
crazy,
another
yeah.
baby.
okay.
Yeah, we had late babies. Hers was 40. What did you have your last one at?
We don't have
Oh,
to
We
tell
don't
the
have
world.
to say the world,
Well, we
okay?
have to
But
tell
I'm
the
just
world.
saying that
Mature
you guys,
moms.
but you guys were entrepreneurs. I'm here traveling,
Yeah.
and young
Yes,
babies.
Yes, yeah. It was a lot.
Yeah.
Today now, at least we can do those Zooms. Trade shows are picking back up again. Though they have. So we
So you have
That's
to
part
like
of our
form
schedule.
like a little village to like kind of manage. So you're like managing mom and managing
Yeah,
business.
we have a
I,
village.
I
of
do have a
course.
husband that does a lot of the driving, right? Because my daughter's an athlete too, so there's a whole lot of driving to practices in school and all that. I mean, it's practice or games or tournaments like crazy. So Today, I'm doing more of that driving. I'm helping more with
Okay.
her. I'm intentionally, she's about to turn 16. I'm intentionally making my mind open and present for all that's coming.
In addition to running the brand.
In addition to running the brand, but at the same time, you have to stay healthy and you have to prioritize your health, right? Mental too. And sometimes it changes your work timing or where you work from. We work home from a lot more. We work from home. We all have like a little home computer and can log in and do things so that we can be present in our homes. Where before we were at the office from morning until after everybody left, and it was every day. So the way we work is changing. It's a little bit smarter.
Kim, is it the same for you?
No. For me, it's mixed chicks all the time.
Okay.
Just for me.
Okay.
I mean, of course, I'm a mother. My kids are a priority. So yes, more of my time, my 12-year-old's in gymnastics. So, she has more activities, right? She's a little more of a social butterfly than my older daughter. But, they're at different stages of their life. I've always been present for them, spending more time, of course. But, I'm up in the morning, I'm on the computer at home. So I can, I can connect to my computer in my office if I need anything. So I'm kind of up in the morning, I'm still going. It's still like day one for me.
Wow.
Even though, life is different, right? It's not as much travel. The accounts are not the same. Life's different, but the brain doesn't shut off. It's constant. This is my livelihood until I move on to something else. So at the end of the day, you have to keep pressing on. When you run a business, yes, you need cash flow, but until that cash flow runs out, you still need to run a business.
Yeah.
And then that's my life.
At what point did you guys give up the day jobs? How early into mixed were you guys able to give up any type of day job just to go 100%?
It was at least 2 years before I think I gave up my day job first. But also it was, for what, $250 a week is what
not
I was
making
able
any
to
money.
take.
Yeah.
But like I said, I have my husband, right? So I didn't have to worry as much about rent, where she was a single mom. So,
And then how long did it take you?
2007, so it was like 3 years.
Okay.
Yep.
Freaking gangsters.
Yeah, you have to. We always say that. Don't quit your day job. I mean,
Until it's like
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, awesome. There was one question I had that was, oh no, I forgot it. Damn. I'm gonna remember when I'm driving later.
you're gonna be like, oh,
I know. I have a girlfriend that I do work with, and we had to come up with it very early on. That like when we get on the phone with each other, we have to say, is it friendship or is it work? How do you guys handle that dynamic? Do you have that similar thing where it's like, I'm calling to complain about the hubby or the kids? I don't know. You guys have been friends for so long. I mean, partners for so long that I would imagine that now it's like a friendship, sisterhood. Do you guys have rules like that where it's like we announce whether it's work or friendship? How do you guys handle that dynamic?
We're more work partners
Yeah.
than really friends. I mean, we like the same. We have some of the same friends, so we end up at a lot of the same stuff. And her family really is like my family here. So it's more like sister work.
Okay.
We don't. Maybe once in a
we
while
don't mess with each other on the weekends.
Yeah.
We have two different lives.
To make sure
and
it's not work.
disrespectful.
Yeah. To
make sure it's
just
not work.
that,
Okay.
She's work.
we're at work. And I am work all the time.
Okay.
And it's just kind of like the weekends are our time.
But our daughters love each other.
Yeah.
So, we try to, because they traveled with us so much together. So they feel like cousins. So we make sure that they get time together.
Okay.
I
was just genuinely curious because it's very rare you see like a great partnership last as long as you guys have and
If
to
we're
be a legacy.
if we're traveling, right? We're
We have a good
traveling
time
for
together.
business, but we have a good
We have a
time
good
because
time.
we're traveling.
Okay,
And we
got it.
enjoy. But like during the week, it's strictly business.
Okay.
If there's a break and someone has something to talk about, we talk about it. But I mean,
And then as soon as that's over, it's like, bye.
bye.
Oh.
We don't even. Oh, it's okay.
It's okay.
We don't even hug each other.
Yeah, we
It's okay.
don't.
We hug other people, but we don't
We're
touch
like
each
this
other.
Well, you guys are like, yeah.
we
Okay,
don't
so
judge
but
each
you
other.
guys have been in a relationship for a very long time.
Yes, and
Understandable.
this is the longest relationship of my life. So
Your whole-
it's hard for me.
Not mine.
No, it's hard for me, honestly, because I get frustrated or there's things I'm not going to deal with, and I'm in a relationship. So it's hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Otherwise, I'm out.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't stay committed.
What advice? What advice would you give to an entrepreneur? Any entrepreneur, doesn't mean this line of work, but what advice would you give to entrepreneurs trying to get into a legacy business position? And what advice would you give in regards to maintaining a healthy partnership? And you
I don't
can- you
even
can say
think the
directly.
legacy thing is really a thing anymore. I'll be honest. Today, social media, just life itself, everything is momentary. It's a moment. No one's really in for the long run. They're in to get in and get out.
You're talking about like the businesses that start
Businesses
that are
right
trying to, cash out in 5 years. I'm talking to the entrepreneurs that do want to build like myself. I want Eating While Broke to have this legacy of like inspiring people. I would like the brand to maintain longevity. Definitely don't want to be in and out.
No,
But
that's
what
good.
advice
But
would you
I
give?
would say I don't run across that anymore. I don't. It just seems that's not where everyone is now. I mean, I just think life's changing. Everyone's kind of doing something different. I mean, could you imagine influencers, people, I'm just saying, people that can talk about something, whether it's a product, a restaurant, a car, that they could make more money than a doctor? They could make more money than a lawyer, and they don't have a degree in that area. They're not a professional, and no disrespect, it is a business. Good for them having a hustle. But just what I'm saying is people can just attach themselves to things and make so much money now where, people had to go to school for years in order to climb that ladder. I mean, in our business, the professional meant something. The professional, people don't even consult a professional anymore, which is sad to me because the professional, they're responsible for your hair. And I think, again, as brand owners, we sell a product, right? So what's on that label? We're selling a product. It's the consumer's job to find out and research their hair. Doesn't mean that product's going to work for them, but it would be great if they consulted a professional to learn about their hair. That way they can make a wise decision when they're buying a product. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But consumer has responsibility,
Yeah.
but unfortunately it doesn't seem that way. So I was just saying, everyone's kind of, I don't know, everything's up for grabs. That's just how I see things nowadays. People are just kind of in and out. Legacy for you, that's because what you're doing is from the heart. It's about nurturing. It's about guiding. It's about giving, right? And we just don't have a lot of people like that anymore. So for you, I would say stay authentic.
Yeah.
Do not
seem very
convert
sincere.
or compromise yourself, right? You speak from the heart. Give what you know is to be real, whether someone likes it or not. It is what it is. That way you can lay your head on your pillow knowing that you told the truth and you had no malicious intent if someone was hurt, but you saw something that they couldn't see, and later in life, they'll appreciate that from you. And that's what you're providing. That's your community service.
That's really good advice. Feels special.
Yeah, I can't top that. Yeah,
That was good.
That's mine too. And keep your family close.
Yeah.
Like
keep
it
your
seems
family
like
close.
you're doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you guys. And did we miss the second? What was the second question I asked? I know we asked.
A day in the life.
A day
but
in
we
the
kind of
life.
told you what it was
Yeah.
like, what it is
It's
like.
busy.
It's busy.
It's a lot. You like she said, you
and
wake
then
up with
the
your cell
advice
phone at
for
4 in the
the-
morning.
Yes.
I did
answering
wanna
emails.
Emails
The
on your
best
phone.
advice to keep this partnership strong. Do you think there is a secret ingredient that makes your guys' partnership strong?
We always used to say you have to like the person. You know what I mean? I think that's like in any relationship. I rather like someone than love them, right? Because you can love someone and hate them to death, right?
Yes.
You have to like them, you know? But, you know, everyone thinks, oh, you have to think the same. You have to be the same. You know, no. Everyone has a different work ethic. Everyone is an individual. There are things that can be frustrating when you're trying to move to a common goal, right? But everyone is who they are. I don't know. How do you make it work?
I think what you just said too really hones into you guys, like just sitting with you both. You guys definitely like own who you are individually, and then own who you guys are to each other individually very well.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we're never going to destroy each other.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, you know, it's almost like you know exactly who and how Kim works. You know exactly how Wendy works. Like,
And maybe that's the partnership.
Maybe
knowing when to give that person the ropes and when to back up and when to move forward. Because sometimes, you know, there are times that maybe you do want to be as strong and you realize this isn't the moment, right? So I think maybe just a little, what is it?
Grace.
Push and pull.
Grace and like over love. I think that's true. I 100% think it's true, because I do feel like too, if you don't like the person as much, you may push that boundary because it's like, I love them, but you know.
Well, I mean, even if, you know, there's, you know, maybe if we're not in full agreement, there's a difference of being with someone who is malicious, right? Or someone intentionally trying to push someone over, like you said. I mean, we don't have any of that evil in our heart, whether we're frustrated
Not for
or
each
not.
other.
Yeah, you know.
I love it.
I mean, I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean, we could be to the 10th power of frustrated, but I mean, no one would want something bad to happen to the other,
of course.
or to set them up for something bad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you hear about that with people. I mean,
I was just talking to my dad about this. I said, you know, you got to be able to choose. Like, I've learned in time, you have friends that are rooting for your happy when you're up, and then you have friends that are rooting for you when you're down, and then you have the friend that can do both. That's happy when you're up and there for you when you're down. I have gotten to the point where I put everyone in their space. Okay, you're down for me, but you're not necessarily happy when I'm up. Hey, you know what? You're happy when I'm up, but you know where to be found when I'm down. And hey, there's this small group of people that are excited when I'm up and there for me when I'm down.
But you have to call it out.
Well, I don't know if I'll necessarily tell people. Well, I have tried to tell people, but you know.
But then you're living with that.
But no, what I do is I put them in a circle. So I'll be like, okay, the up and downers are in the close circle. Whether you're family or not, you know, I know that circle. That's 100% yes, positive and negative. That's my first circle. Then the people that are like, I'm down for you when you're down. That's the second. The people that are down for me only when I'm up. That's the third. And I just put them in their proper place. I don't necessarily remove everybody because some of them are relatives or what have you. But I just say, I'm going to put you in your proper place so I don't have these expectations or these letdowns, and then I'm pleading with the person. Why aren't you like this? No, like I put you in your proper place. I no longer can be hurt or impacted, you know, where I'm trying to change you or, you know, trying to earn something from you that's unnecessary. So that's
That's smart.
That is smart.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Because it hurts when you expect something and you get let down, you know. So
that's kind of how I do it.
No, to monitor your expectations.
Good for
Monitoring
you.
your expectations is a huge part of succeeding in life.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for coming out into the main camera. How can we keep up with you? Can you tell us how many cities, countries you're in, what retailers you're in, the different products you're in? Just please tell us everything amazing about Mixed Chicks into that camera, and how to keep up with y'all, of course.
Oh, well, of course you can find every single product of Mixed Chicks at mixedchicks.net or mixedchicks.com. You can follow us on social, on Instagram at Mixed Chicks Hair, on Twitter at Mixed Chicks Hair, Facebook Mixed Chicks. You can also find our products, obviously, on most online platforms like Amazon. You can find us in Target, Ulta, Kohl's. You can find us at Walgreens, CVS,
Rite Aid.
Rite Aid. You can find us at some specialty stores, that don't promote, but you'll find us if you have a little treasure hunt. You'll find us probably in about 30 different countries. But if you need to find anything from us, just go along to mixedchicks.net.
Mixedchicks.net. You heard it here first. Thank you so much for your time and feeding me a delicious meal, which I will finish because it was that good. Thanks, y'all, for listening. Peace out.